Hello scholars and welcome back. This is week 2 of POL 450, Research Methods for Political Science. I hope that we all had a successful first week of this class as we establish the foundation that we're going to use to move forward. Here in week 2 we're going to take a slight detour. If you remember in my first video, I told you that this class builds week to week to week, and we create building blocks that we're eventually going to put all together for that ultimate course prospectus, research prospectus that we're going to build for this class. Well, here in week 2 we take a slight detour, and in week 2 we're going to discuss the ethics of research, specifically the IRB process and what the Institutional Review Board means to us as researchers, some of the guidelines, and really the reasoning of the logic behind it, and why we have established these guidelines, why as researchers we need to get approval for our research, and really some of the problems in the past that have led to this. So let's go through our agenda this week, look at what we need to do, we'll look at our deliverables, and hopefully answer any questions that you'll have as you start to navigate through week 2 of this course. So to begin with, you see that we have a reading assignment, there's a PowerPoint lecture, there's the annotated bibliography research that we're going to continue to do throughout this entire course as we try to narrow down our topic and we're looking for applicable references. And then we have our 3 deliverables, our written assignment 2, our application exercise 2, and our week 2 discussion board. And I'll go into more detail with each one of those. But for the reading assignment this week, we're going to go away from our textbook and we're actually going to navigate to CBU's IRB, the Institutional Review Board Handbook. And we can navigate, or how we navigate that is we're going to need to go to Inside CBU, to the Provost tab, into the Institutional Review Board link, and what you're going to eventually want to find is the full text IRB handbook. And all the information this week will be coming out of that IRB handbook. So we aren't going to be using our assigned text, we are going to be using the full IRB handbook, and that is the way that we are going to navigate to get that. For our PowerPoint lecture this week, it's going to highlight some research ethics and why. And with all of these PowerPoint lectures, what I want you to do is, or what I recommend that you do, is to look through the PowerPoint lecture, and it's going to have all the key topics that we're trying to extract from this week's information. Then I would do the assigned reading, and then I would follow up again by reviewing the PowerPoint lectures. And what you're going to find is you're going to see things that are going to come up in all 3. You're going to see them on the PowerPoint, you're going to remember them in the reading, and you're going to see them again. And those are those key points that I'm really trying to hope that you extract. So I think there's a benefit to reviewing the PowerPoint, doing the reading, and then reviewing the PowerPoint again. So we just really saturate ourselves with the information. So now let's look at the assignments, and they're all related to that IRB, that Institutional Review Board Handbook. So our first assignment is going to be written assignment number 2, the IRB guidelines. This is going to be due, like all of our assignments through the first 7 weeks of this course, by Sunday, November 10th, 2019 by 11:59. So that is just the last day, Sunday, by 11:59. And there's 25 points possible for this. So we're going to, after you review the video this week's, after you look at the IRB handbook, I'm asking you to answer the following questions. So the first one is, what is the CBU Institutional Review Board? And what I'm not looking for is I'm looking for academic level responses to these questions. And I expect at this academic level that you are able to answer a sentence with more than one word, that you use complete sentences and you explain all of your logic behind each sentence. So what is the CBU Institutional Review Board? I expect a good definition of what it is and why it is. How many members are on the CBU IRB? What is the general rule concerning research at CBU? When does a student researcher need to seek IRB approval? What are the 3 main categories for human participants research at CBU, and how do they differ? What items must be included in an expedited research IRB application? What is an informed consent, and what information must be included in it? And then finally, what is an assent for minor form, and when must it be used? So I want you to, once again, answer all those questions. There's the grading criteria below. If you answer all the questions, there's 15 points. And then if your answers exhibit college level writing skills through correct grammar, spelling, APA citations, and reference, there's 10 additional for a total of 25. So a very straightforward assignment this week. Read get the down, find the handbook, answer the questions, write out each one of these at an academic level, get it in by Sunday by 11:59, and we'll get 25 points. Our second is an application exercise, and this is going to differ from our application exercise in week 1, which was a quiz. This week's application is that the logic behind these is I want you to apply the learning in some sort of discipline. So what I have is I have 3 different hallmark case studies, but all these studies had some significant issues with them that are relevant to ethical research today. So the Tuskegee syphilis study, the Stanford prison experiment, the Milgram obedience study. So there's 3 YouTube videos. Watch all the videos, and then there are a series of questions that I want you to answer. The first question is, what specific violations of CBU Institution Review Board policies do you find in each of these cases? And then second, how could the information found in each of these studies be researched in a way that would comply with accepted ethical practices? So once again, view the videos. Let me know what is wrong with each one of those, how they were violations, and how could the researcher have navigated these studies in an ethical and legal accepted ethical practices, and how they would comply with that. So once again, this is due Sunday, November 10th, 2019, 11:59. 25 points are available and are possible, and the rubric is 15 for answering all required components and 10 points if you're going for writing at a college level, looking for correct grammar, spelling, APA citations, and references. So once again, Sunday, 11:59, our second deliverable. And finally, we have our week 2 discussion board. For this discussion board this week, I want you to use this discussion board to discuss the videos and your personal reaction to these 3 studies reviewed for week 2 application assignment. So the 3 YouTube videos that I had you watch, I want you to discuss your personal reaction to these videos. Obviously, utilizing the IRB concepts, your personal ethics, maybe the Christian worldwide view of how these studies should have been, how these studies could have been conducted ethically and with a broader sense of commitment and to the subjects that these studies utilized. Because this is our first discussion board, or not our first discussion board, but because this is a discussion board, let me go into a little bit more detail. Remember, our discussion board is replacing the interaction that we have in the classroom if this was a traditional class. So in a traditional class, we would have dialogue in the classroom on a daily basis. We would ask questions, answer questions. There would be interaction among students. Obviously, we do not have that on the online world, but we replace that with discussion boards. And I take discussion boards fairly seriously because it's the only way that we can replace that valuable interaction that we have in the classroom. So because of that, I expect a 300-word minimum for you to make your discussion, because I don't believe that you could make a committed attempt at explaining this in anything less than 300 words. So you're going to give your original post with 300 words, and then I want you to follow up with 2 of your other students' posts. And when you follow up with to 2 of your colleagues, I expect you to add to the academic discussion, not just agree with. As an example, I really think you have a good idea there. Well done. I agree with you. That isn't what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, and I expect for you to add to the academic discussion. So the first original post, 300 words, follow it up with 2 academic level responses to 2 of your fellow colleagues. You see the rubric, 15 points for your original post, 10 for the follow-up post. 25 points available. Once again, like our other assignments, these are due Sunday by 11:59 p.m. And then finally, if we look here on our table of contents, we will find that there is a prospectus video, a prospectus example, and a prospectus template. This is a separate video that I made this week and included and embedded here in week 2, and it will help you navigate through the final critical assignment. So a good example of how to get that, an example of what I'm looking for, and a template to ensure that you hit all the subheadings that you need to have a complete prospectus. So there you have it. Week 2 video is complete. I hope that answered your questions that you might have on week 2. I look forward to reading all of your assignments, grading all your work. I find that the IRB process is foreign to many people. I know that it certainly was for me when I first started doing research. I had no idea that there was all these hurdles. I didn't even understand there even was such a thing as IRB when it came to research. Oftentimes I understood that there would be that there was regulations when it came to like medical research, that we needed to protect the human subjects from during medical testing, but I had no idea that in our social sciences that we had the same level of requirements to protect the human subjects that we are studying. So I was surprised when I learned about the IRB process, but then I had to become very accustomed to it because us as researchers, we realize that this is a needed portion. It is a necessary component of any research, and it gives us credibility that the people that we're studying and that the data that we are receiving is credible, and there was no ethical conflicts from getting that information. So good luck in this week. I will keep you all in my thoughts and prayers. Once again, if you have any issues, concerns at all, get a hold of me by email as soon as possible. I know that you're going to get tired of hearing this from me, but I don't believe that there is any issues that we can't solve if we contact and we have discussion early. On the other hand, I know that this class could become very troublesome when there is a lack of communication. So communication is key. If you have any issues, concerns, or comments, get a hold of me. And with that, this completes the video, and I look forward to talking to you all again. Have a very blessed week.